Welcome to Lobby Concessionals, the movie podcast where nobody's right and everybody's wrong. I'm Parker, and that's Alison filling in for Brendon today. Today, or this week, we're going to be doing a After the Credits segment, which is where we take a look at some of the current events of movies. Usually it's involving movies we've seen recently, movies that have come out recently, look at anything new that's happened, sort of. And because of that, we try and record this a little bit more recently than we do our other episodes. Usually we record in advance. That's why, as some people probably have noticed, we've been kind of all over the place in terms of technical difficulties. There's been some issues with sound and some issues with the camera work, and some of that's just because those episodes were filmed earlier. So when we suddenly seem to have everything in order and then we flip back to it the next episode, it's because of us filming out of order. So Alison, interestingly, this is actually your second time on the show, but the first time the audience is greeting you. So in some ways, welcome back, and in some ways, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm hoping I don't get made fun of as much this time.
Well, the audience is going to have to wait to see what happens that other time. So, but you know, I can't make any promises at this point. Just for the sake of explanation, Brendon wasn't able to join us today, and he has prepared a statement that he would like to be read. So if we have some sad violin music or something, we should probably play that. I don't think we actually have. We're not nearly important enough to hire musicians, so we're going to pretend. So picture some sad violin music. I'm going to read this verbatim, so please forgive any issues with the delivery or writing. First off, I'd like to apologize to my partner, Parker, for not only ruining his Tuesday evening, but for being so embarrassed that I couldn't even show my face this week. To all the other people's lives I ruined that day, I'm sorry. It was never my intention to put you and your families through such a horrific incident. What we do on this show is entertainment. There was nothing entertaining about what happened that day. I was irresponsible with my actions, and I'm paying for them. In my hubris, I thought Morbius would be a ha-ha bad kind of movie. It was just bad. I was reckless, and I was careless. I want to apologize to everyone I might have hurt that day. I can't change the past, but I know that the dark cloud of Morbius will hang over me for the rest of my life. I will be better. Brendon. So, with that somber reading, I think that launches us perfectly into what we've seen this week. Both of us were at the screening of Morbius. Alison, I think the social media spoke for itself for me. Alison, what did you think?
So I'm known to enjoy quite a lot of films. Like I like to be entertained. And so usually I've been known to like some bad films, and that's fine. But it's fine. But this was honestly, like, I just don't have any rewatchability with this film. And usually that's what I like. Like I rewatch films. I like rewatching things. And there's nothing I want to see again in this film. And not like, I'm not a big Jared Leto fan, and like he was just himself, which I think made it worse. Like
that's the method acting, actually.
Yeah. It's great to method act as yourself. It really helps. But so pretentious, and then it was so weirdly paced, like fast, but not good. Like
I was shocked at how boring it was. I think that was one of the bigger things. Is I kind of expected it to be if anything, it would be at least sort of interesting. Like so enough would be going on, but he spends a lot of time just sort of researching or like at a computer or something.
But not even like not even enough to show like, oh, we're testing on animals or something to see if this works, and then you go through a couple tests of it doesn't work to it works. Like I think of the Amazing Spider-Man sequence where they're trying to test in the first one of growing a limb, right? So you see it not working a couple of times. So you see it not working on the mouse a couple of times, or the rat or whatever. And in this, it was like, oh, okay, number 264. Oh, and it worked. And you're like, great. Okay. We didn't have to go through the 263 other ones. That's fine.
Yeah.
But then, there were parts where there's the like de-evolution of him it wasn't a process. It wasn't an entertaining process. It just sort of happened. And then
I thought it is interesting too, because typically in any sort of superhero film, there's or not in any, but like in lots of them, there is a sort of a sequence of discovering their powers, figuring out what they can do, or coming to terms with that.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that in this either. It was really just launched straight into now he's got these powers and he's proficient. There's no problem with using them, which was really a big surprise to me as well.
Yeah.
But frankly, there was so much of this movie that was just irredeemable. It was brutal. It was a really, really, really bad movie. And I think it's interesting too, because it's easily the worst end credit scene I've ever seen. And I think Brandon's talked before about how he's not exactly a massive fan of those end credit scenes in general. Like it's, they can be a little cheap, but this one's really bad, like shockingly bad. Yeah. So there's not much worth talking about there. I think the only thing that we can really, I think the only thing that's going to survive out of Morbius is is for one, the stories of Jared Leto forcing various people to take him to the bathroom because he was supposed to be walking on crutches, which I don't entirely get, just because he could have just be on his crutches. Like, why couldn't he still just go to the bathroom on his own?
Yeah.
He doesn't need assistance.
Yeah.
And then secondly, the other thing, I have seen memes about it already, is Matt Smith dancing and putting on that suit, and then like the end of it sort of looking straight at the camera and doing the vampire face or whatever. So that might survive. I could see that lasting. Let's put it that way.
And I do have to hand it to like the other people in the cast. I think they are like, they're good actors. And I'm honestly shocked they did this film. So it's a little upsetting. But Matt Smith was great.
Everybody needs a paycheck.
Yeah. And like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Frankly, I feel like we've already dedicated too much time to Morbius.
That's
so.
Yeah.
What about the last couple of weeks? Anything else you have watched, Alison, that you think is worth noting or talking about?
I, of course, have jumped on the bandwagon of Bridgerton.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I did watch the second season. I am a period piece lover, so I always watch anything. I had a really hard time getting into the first season. It was like those historical inaccuracies where I was like, this isn't Jane Austen, so it's not as good.
Like black people?
No, of course not. I was actually like, it was great to see that society could just work with, like, if we hadn't been colonizing people and putting people into slavery forever, it would have been great. And society could have just been a functioning society. Yeah. But so that wasn't the issue. There were just things that didn't make sense for the time period of like what you would talk about or what you would engage in some ways. So that was my main concern. And of course, like, I like saucy things. I'm not ashamed.
Saucy things.
Saucy. And so the second season was less saucy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was that a disappointment?
No, honestly. I think I was okay with it because obviously being a period piece lover, I'm used to, their fingers touched lightly as she got out of the carriage and like,
I saw her ankles.
Yeah, it's so much. So those things are fine with me, but there was just so much sex in the first season, and they only alluded to it really in the second season. I know, it was so disappointing, but overall, I think the story was good. There were lots of like interesting points within it that I enjoyed. Obviously, I don't think you would like it, so
I'm not really a period piece guy, for sure.
No, and definitely not. Like, if you were to get into period pieces, it should not be Bridgerton.
Yeah.
But
That's Shonda Rhimes, right?
yeah,
And
she's
I can't
great.
imagine I'm much of a Shonda Rhimes person. Let's put it that way, too.
No, she's done lots of great things. Like,
I'm sure she has. Just maybe not for me. Like not something I'm...
No, she's got a lot of TV, like good TV, and I think cable TV we're not as... I don't watch as much, right? So
Sure.
Yeah.
So it needs to be streaming.
Yeah, I like streaming.
Sure.
So that's why I got really into Bridgerton. But yeah, so I'm excited for a third season. Like, I think they can make up to 12 seasons or something.
12?
Based on the books. So
is that something you want?
12 might be too much.
Okay.
I think it'll get, like, it's already a tiny bit repetitive because there's only so much you can do when you're getting married after 3 months. But, like, we'll see. I'm enjoying it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I watched Moon Knight, the first 2 episodes of Moon Knight, which I was pretty stoked about. Have you seen the?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of the character. Like, granted, I only really started getting into comics. Like, sorry, I've loved comics my whole life, but I've only really started getting into reading a lot of them, and delving a little bit more into the history of some characters in the last year or so. And anyway, so I ended up getting into Moon Knight partially because I knew there was a show coming. I knew it was Oscar Isaac. I was pretty stoked about it. And I heard he was like effectively Marvel's version of Batman. And then as I read more, I was stoked about it. And I, loved where the stories were going. So I thought there was some really, really good runs with him. So I've been really excited for those first 2 episodes. Not exactly spoilers or anything, but then again, like, I am going to discuss specific parts of episodes, so it's not going to be totally spoilery, but it is, if you want to go in completely dry, skip this part, I guess. But yeah, I've been really happy to see what they've done with the character and his costuming in particular. In the comics, it's just a suit that he puts on. So seeing him, it's like a living thing, sort of, that's and it has mummy wraps, like the bandages, sort of. None of that's in the comics, and that's super cool. And I think they've made some really inspired decisions. And then the second episode had a shot of Mr. Knight where he's in the suit, in the vest, and as far as I'm concerned, that's the best version of Moon Knight. So I was stoked to see that. And then they kind of dunked on it a bit, and that really, really broke my spirit. So I'm really hoping that doesn't continue to be the case, and we get a little bit more Mr. Knight in there. Yeah. Any thoughts on Moon Knight?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm a huge Oscar Isaacs fan, so I don't think... I just love watching him in anything. But because you see the memes with Moon Knight, and I think you told me one of them wasn't from the comics at all.
Yeah, I think every one of them I've seen.
Yeah.
All the, like, where are you, Dracula, where's my money stuff, all of that's fake.
Okay. So sad. But those things, I think I expected him to be a little more, like, sarcastic in some ways. So I'm sort of waiting for that. But obviously, like, it's doing well so far. I'm entertained. I'm enjoying it. So I hope he can be a little more, like, sassy. He was as Mr. Knight a little bit more, like, he was getting there.
I think you're going to be disappointed.
Oh, no.
I don't think he's going to be that sassy.
No, he's not going to be sassy. Okay. Well, damn memes. Ruining everything. I'm still entertained. I'm still going to watch it. But, yeah. He was a little sassy. He said, like, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, Steven with a V. Like, that's funny.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's
like,
some
no,
sass,
and I think there's bound to be some level of Marvel sassiness. Like, they're not going to have no jokes or no kind of punchy dialogue, but I don't know. I've kind of something I've really enjoyed about it is it seems like it's the closest we've got to something that's kind of scary in a Marvel show. Like there's definitely been darker moments, and I kind of think that's what they're leaning into more that than they are the silliness that we see in a lot of Marvel stuff.
It's definitely like an older version, or like for adults.
Yeah.
Kind of, there's violence and there's
there is,
but more than I think.
I think if we were to describe any Marvel thing as for adults, we're idiots.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, like they're definitely. It's a wide audience, and they're all supposed to include kids for sure. But there's definitely some stuff in there that I'm like, oh yeah, like if I was really young, I would have some nightmares probably. Like there's a few things with Khonshu that are
scary.
Pretty horrific. Now, like obviously not a true horror movie or anything, you know, like you watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre when you were a kid, and it's not that level at all. But it is.
I was like 13 and I am traumatized.
Oh, okay.
I never want to go to Texas. I've been, but I never want to go again.
You recognize the fact that it has nothing to do with Texas,
I
right?
will not stop at a gas station in Texas.
You're right. This is Texas's fault.
It's all
Texas. Speaking of silliness, I was fortunate enough to watch Everything Everywhere All at Once with you, actually, a couple days ago. And I personally adored it. So for those that don't know, it's a multiverse movie that is rife with silliness. It is directed by Daniels, is how they choose to refer to themselves, because it's two gentlemen, both named Daniel. They previously directed Swiss Army Man with Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe. Man, I think it's just because there's too many Daniels. I just got confused for a moment. And I was not a fan of Swiss Army Man. I found it was ridiculous and silly, but never gave me a moment to buy in. So I couldn't connect to the characters. I found that the story didn't have enough heart, and by the end of it, I just was uninterested. I'm okay with silliness to a point as long as I feel like it's grounded in sort of a in more of a real world, and I didn't find that with Swiss Army Man, personally.
Like, you're wrong, but that's fine.
Well, okay.
It was great.
But I found personally that all changed with Everything Everywhere All at Once. There's a lot of heart there. There's the tone and the world is serious enough that it matters. That the silliness is accentuates the world almost, as opposed to what I felt in Swiss Army Man was taking away from it. Okay. Michelle Yeoh does an incredible job.
Always.
So especially given the silliness, like how much stuff, I just kept picturing, how did they convince her to do this on the set? Like I assume some of it was just they hid the script from her, and then they just showed up on the day and they're like, yeah, okay, so now you're gonna have hot dog fingers, and she was like, what? And they're like, yeah, it's fine, like, you know, talk to your agent. and they just did it.
Yeah, I think I love her. Like, I think she's amazing. I mean, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and then all through like Shang-Chi, but Crazy Rich Asians, like, she's done amazing work. And I think she's always up for like fun and a laugh. Like, I've seen her in interviews and she just seems great. So
sure.
But I think it's to not be able to see it. I think it's a hard premise to just read that in a script and be able to act it anyway.
Do you think in the script it just says hot dog fingers, and then they're just like, yeah, you figure it out. You'll get there.
It'll be fine. Yeah, you'll know. And then also like Jamie Lee Curtis, who's her supporting too. Like, she's amazing and also seems hilarious. So I think they would just have so much fun with it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, stellar cast, like amazing people. Period piece, if you like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is set in the 50s, 60s. I think it's 60s.
Somewhere in the 1900s for sure.
1960s, I'm pretty sure. The daughter is Stephanie Hsu, and she's amazing. So if you like her in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, she plays May. She's in this as well. And
Sorry,
then,
the daughter in Everything Everywhere All at Once is
Yes.
Stephanie Hsu.
It's Stephanie Hsu. And then Short Round from Indiana Jones.
What?
Is the husband in it.
No
yeah.
way.
Ki Hoi Kwan is in it. So
That's incredible.
and he's great. He's so fantastic. And
He doesn't even call anyone Mr. Jones, though.
no, he doesn't. And I don't think I've really seen him in a lot since he was a kid. Like, I know he's been in things, but like this is the first time where I was like, nope, that's him.
Like, in fairness, I wouldn't recognize him
No.
if he was in other things.
No.
I would be like, oh, you know who this is? And then
Yeah.
just pin it a Short Round for sure.
No.
Zero chance.
And like such a cute kid and a very good looking adult. So like
Yeah.
he did a great glow up there. So
Yeah.
I'm
Good for
very
him.
happy. Yeah.
Good for him.
So I can't wait to see him in more. I hope he gets more.
I think one of the things that really surprised me with Everything Everywhere All at Once is that the silliness is just amps up the more you go through the movie. But the heart does as well. So I kind of expected that I would enjoy the film, but I didn't expect too much more. Now, granted, I'm a huge baby, so it doesn't take much. But yeah, I was crying in this movie. There's a few moments where it just hit me. And that was, like I said, a big surprise for a movie that features hot dog fingers.
Yeah.
So they kind of slayed it.
Yeah.
They did a really, really, really good job. And I think in our case, probably about 90% of the theater that we were in was on some form of drugs. So, I guess if that's what you're into, if you want to go to a theater and get blasted, then maybe do it for this movie, if you're into it. But don't ruin it for anyone else if you can avoid it.
Yeah.
I
just don't know. Like, I don't get how you can comprehend what's going on in the film. Like, I feel like it would be very confusing, but also maybe that's what people want.
I don't think that was the concern.
That's fair,
I don't think people walked into it needing to understand the nuances.
Yeah, I guess.
So, but yeah, that would be a big recommend from my side of things. Really, really enjoyed that movie. Far more than I ever expected to. Alison, did you watch anything else this past couple weeks?
I finally got around to watching Widows. Yeah. Another like all-star cast, which was just
kidding.
Incredible.
I'm just going to sweep this rug from out underneath you here because I have been trying to get you to watch Widows since it came out in 2018. I watched it in the cheap seats with my dad because I had heard good things and I liked the people in it. And then, first of all, it blew my mind just how great it was, especially considering that it was in and out of the main theater. Like, I don't remember it being around at most, big picture houses for long. And so that was shocking. And then on top of that, I found I kept being surprised when other people showed up in the movie. Like, I had known, I think the maybe top four people. So Viola Davis, Michelle Rodriguez, Liam Neeson, and Elizabeth Debicki. And then as the movie goes along, I find out John Bernthal's in it, Carrie Coon, Robert Duvall, Colin Farrell, Brian Tyree Henry, Daniel Kaluuya, Jackie Weaver are all in it. And some of those are really small parts. And they're, at that point anyway, big enough actors to kind of demand larger parts. It's directed by Steve McQueen, who did Shame and Hunger and 12 Years a Slave. What I found out when I was doing research for this is the screenplay is adapted from a novel, but it's written by Gillian Flynn of Gone Girl fame. So the thing is a banger the whole way through.
Yeah.
Anyway, now that I've gushed for a minute, what did you think of Widows?
So like the premise is a heist movie, and I
Sure.
love heist movies. I think most of the time there's some rough heist movies, but so yeah, just having that. I'm a big Liam Neeson fan, and even though he wasn't in it for very long, like it was
Spoilers.
Well, no, I mean, no. Okay, spoilers. Sorry.
It's spoiling the first 5 minutes of the movie, so you're fine, honestly.
Yeah. But it was interesting.
I guess it's called Widows.
Yeah,
I guess we know someone is going to be a widow.
Someone has to not make it through. But it was entertaining. It was easy to follow. Like there wasn't anything that was overly complicated, which I think made it fun too. Like
Sure.
I'm happy to have a complicated movie, but it's sometimes nice just to have like sort of hold your hand through it, but still be entertaining constantly. Like
I find, especially with a heist movie, I don't want too much going on.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, not that, again, we can't have some level of complexity, but when you've got a cast this big too, you do want to be able to kind of have an idea of the key characters, and you don't want to feel like you're getting lost in, Rick and Morty did a bit about this where, the double cross, and by the sixth one, everyone's confused.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's not, the narrative is straightforward enough, like it doesn't rely on cheap tricks, I guess is the nice thing. So,
and then everyone just did a fantastic job. Like their acting skills were fantastic. It was nice. Michelle Rodriguez, to see her.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. To see her sort of being something different. Like I'm so used to Fast and Furious where she's a badass, but like having this where she's still a badass, but like maybe a little more hesitant of a badass.
Well, and like very much a mom.
Yeah. Like she's got her 2 kids, like she's, and not sure if she wants to get involved or not. Whereas Fast and Furious, it's like, I'm in, family, 100%. So.
Well, and it's nice to see her in something other than a tank top.
Yeah, yeah. She's not just wearing a black tank top. And then Elizabeth Debicki, like I think every moment of that movie, I was like, she is so tall.
Yeah, man. But she's a giraffe.
Yeah, no, but like just rocking it the whole time. Like I will wear 5-inch heels and also be 6'3" and walk around this set like. Oh man, but yeah, she was great. It was really good.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it as well. So I'm glad to hear that.
Glad I finally got on it.
The referral paid off.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it for me in terms of movies I've seen this last little while. Anything exciting coming up for you that you can think of? Anything you want to touch on before we?
Yeah, I should. So Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore are coming out. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, so if people know me, like I'm a collector, I'm kind of a weirdo with it. And I have just such a hard time with the Fantastic Beasts series.
The whole series.
The first one, like it was so promising. I'm a big Colin Farrell fan, so I was very excited.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just really went downhill for me. And then especially with everything with J.K. Rowling, like I don't like her. I'm a Harry Potter fan, and I'm trying to separate the two.
Sure.
And I have a hard time. So that is coming up, and I am like I don't know what to do because I go to the midnight screenings or the 7:00 now because they changed it. But I go to those like Thursday night screenings or as soon as I can see it. And this one, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'll go when it's cheap, or like I'll try to wait till it's free. And I'm just sort of getting eaten alive. So I've just been revisiting a bunch of other Harry Potter things.
So I'm curious, you don't want to see it at all in theaters, or like what's motivating that decision? Is it not interested in seeing where this story goes, or is it not wanting to support JK, or both, or any other thing? Option C.
Yeah. It's hard. I don't want to support J.K. Rowling, but obviously, like as a Harry Potter collector, that's pretty hard. Like I have a hard time separating the two, or just because she's obviously going to get money from the things I buy. Yeah. I try not to, but sometimes you have to. And then also just I don't think they're doing a good job with the story in general. Like,
sure.
And they're adding things that I just don't think should be added. But I'm curious to know what they add, right? So they told me some things that are like a cliffhanger from the second one. And so now I feel like I have to watch the third to know more. And also I want to know if I don't like it, right? Like I want to...
sure, okay.
I don't want to go around being like, oh, I hated the third one and I've never seen it. Like
you can definitely do that in some cases. I think most people can say, I did not enjoy Morbius, whether or not they have seen Morbius.
But now I have facts. Like I can go around and be like, I definitely did not like it because of these reasons.
I don't know if I needed
don't need
facts.
that? Yeah, that's fair.
But either way, I guess as our resident Harry Potter specialist, expert, however you want to describe, how would you describe yourself in this case?
I don't want to say expert. That sounds too nerd.
Yeah.
I feel like then
if I say it about you, it's fine. But if you say it about you, then you're a loser. Yeah.
No, just nerd.
So as a resident Harry Potter expert, do you think there's any way that you can turn this story around in a way that will connect back with the pre-established lore?
I don't know, because we don't really know a lot about this time period from the books, like from our source material. They do have a little bit more free reign, right? They can explore it a little bit differently. Yeah. But it just feels like they've done too much, like they've changed too much, or they're trying to like retcon some things from the original series. So I have a hard time. And also I'm like, I would have just loved to see Newt Scamander running around different countries finding fantastic beasts.
Oh, sure.
Like I didn't really need...
It's like the original pitch for the series would have been fine for you.
I didn't need the Dumbledore Grindelwald like ordeal with that. Like maybe do your own section, but like just give me a Newt movie. And I think the other problem is like some of the actors in the film don't even want to do the film, or like that's maybe not the right, but like they're even sort of getting pushed to the side, or they don't seem to be used as much as they were in the first film. So like it seems like they're changing the maybe it's David Yates or J.K. Rowling are like changing the script as they go through the films.
So just for context, David Yates, the director of this film, did all 3 Fantastic Beasts films?
Yes.
And then 3 Harry Potter films?
Yeah, so... no, 4.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
So has been involved with the series for quite a long time. And so
5.
It really doesn't matter.
I know. I should know this. 5.
And so so JK is actively involved as the story, like she's the writer of these films, correct?
Yeah, so like she's doing the screenplay, yeah.
Okay.
With Fantastic Beasts.
So it's not even like we can shunt blame off on someone else if you're unhappy with the story.
It's her, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
So it just compounds. Like I'm already unhappy with her because of her personal views, and then now I'm even more unhappy because she's changing things, and I'm like, do you even read your books? Like, do you...
But again, you don't think there's any way this would be like a bait and switch, and there's some way that she can turn this around and connect things back, and then make the previous lore valid again, or like true, or because that's part of the problem, right? Is that she's theoretically rewriting some of the story that she's already cemented down.
Well, yeah, and like it hasn't gotten to the point where it's truly affected Harry. Like it's more...
Oh yeah, it's like 100 years before him. Maybe not 100, but like 60 or 70, right?
Yeah. 60, yeah. But there's just, there's things that like it just doesn't quite seem to fit the world that she has previously built for us.
Sure.
So there, like I do want answers. I want to know, and I think that's my problem is do I fund this film? Like I know my one ticket might not make a difference, but that like...
But you wouldn't go just one time.
No, probably not.
So if we open the floodgates, it's a bad call.
Yeah, like I didn't like Crimes of Grindelwald, and I think I still saw it like 4 times in theaters.
Nah, that's disappointing.
It's really tough. So I have a hard time. Like that's why I'm hoping for other Harry Potter things that are coming out. Like the video game Hogwarts Legacy is supposed to be the end of the year. They said holiday 2022.
Video games are tough for that.
Yeah. Who knows? So I've been replaying some Harry Potter video games. Which aren't good. Like, but I love them and they're great.
Are we just talking Lego Harry Potter, or are we talking?
No, I definitely Lego Harry Potter is great, but no, I decided to play the Half-Blood Prince game on Xbox.
Oh, like the movie adaptation or whatever.
Yeah. Which is pretty rough, but it's getting me excited for what 7 months from now.
Yeah. And so are you at all concerned with Hogwarts Legacy? Like they're doing a whole new thing, right? Like has nothing to do with Harry Potter. It has nothing. It's Hogwarts, and it's like in the 1800s, isn't it?
Yeah, I think late 1800s or something. But I almost like that more.
Oh, okay.
Because it has nothing to do with the people I already know.
Sure,
right?
they're treading their own path.
Yeah, so none of the professors, no one that, like, not a recognizable name, which is ideal. So I think that's almost my favorite. Like, that's what I want, is to have the same world. And so still sort of the same, like, Hogwarts.
Yeah.
It's designed a little bit differently, which I kind of enjoy too, like seeing a different perspective of what Hogwarts could have been.
Like physically designed? Yeah.
There's a couple different things.
Okay.
And then they're taking some of the Pottermore website, which is like the Harry Potter website that J.K. Rowling created. They're taking some of the information and like the design from that and putting it in, which I think is cool too. So it's not just the films again, right? So you're getting a little bit more. And I like the world, and that's what I mean by, like, I like the wizarding world, and I would have loved Newt running around collecting beasts.
Sure.
And so just like I love that I can go back to Hogwarts with Hogwarts Legacy, but
yeah,
I don't need the same characters over and over again.
Yeah. Sure. It's a bit of the Star Wars problem.
Yeah.
Do you have to go to Tatooine again?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
How many suns do I need to see? So yeah, I'm hesitant, and then we'll see what happens in a week if I cave and just go watch it in theaters.
Well, I don't know if you can. I
know.
Can't support people like that.
I know.
Can't support abusers.
I really don't. But Mads Mikkelsen, let's just
he's great.
Fawn
he's
over
great.
him for a little bit.
So I don't, based on how this conversation has gone already, I don't think we'll ever have you back on again to talk about Harry Potter. So I'm just saying, fill your boots now. Anything more you want to say before we close this off?
No, I'm going to make you have an episode, and we're just going to talk about Harry Potter. It'll be 3 hours long, and I think
that will upset you just because you have to then hear what I have to say about Harry Potter, which would probably infuriate you more. Then having a soapbox will help you,
yeah. So I'll commandeer one of your episodes, and it'll just be me.
You'll just replace me
talking.
One day.
Yeah.
Good.
And Brendon won't. He'll just go along with me.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll put up with it for sure.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, thanks so much for coming out and being on the show. Yeah. And like I said, we'll see you, or the audience will see you again next week. Yeah. So we're looking forward to that.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.